Okay, so what I want to talk about in this module is just the problems for leadership in modern society, in the modern workplace, and talk about some of the experiences I've had that hopefully you can learn from. So obviously, what we're aiming to achieve is connection with the people that we're leading. Um, so people are confident to ask for help, say it like it is, disagree with that personal attacks, and find out how others see things. And that disagreeing with that personal attacks is a really important one. I think often people assume in the great teams there's never any fallout and everyone gets on harmoniously. Well, it's never actually the case. But what it does mean in the best teams is that people can say things, but it's never personal. And also people can actually say it like it is. As I say, it's um, there's no egos within that team. Inadequate connection, however, avoiding conversations, what's really on people's minds, people signing off in private, which we've mentioned in the last module, and PowerPoint festivals. So when you go to a team meeting where you can perhaps get some of the issues out on the table, all you tend to do is to go through the PowerPoint, have the meeting, go through the agenda, and everyone walks out the meeting and has corridor conversations and not disagrees with what was said in the meeting, but feels frustrated that the elephant in the room has never been addressed. So this is something that happened to me when I was in my first coaching job in the Premiership. Actually, leaders become obsessed with pushing through change. They're out of energy when talking to the individual members about their personal futures. So I was trying to change the team and bring a whole lot of young players through, and then I was so tied up with doing that. I didn't have any time to spend with the coaches really. The coaches who were coaching the team week in, week out. And this is what happened. The pressure of time and the short-term results leads to two self-reinforcing patterns in teams. The leader became distant, so I basically went into my office and worked harder, did my best to try and hold the ship together when we were losing games in the Premiership. And then ultimately what happened was everyone sat back, everyone leant back, refusing to take responsibility for shaping events. The followers are left off the hook while leaders are impaled on it. And I think I recognised it at the time. And at the same time, one of the coaches said to me, Stuart, you've got to let us help you. You try to do it all on your own and, we can do more to help you. So we actually had a meeting, a really positive one, where we talked about how I was managing the situation. And from then on, we were a very tight group. And, the morale, not that it was rock bottom anyway, but the morale was very much rolling together now, as opposed to just me and my own trying to solve the problems and be the heroic leader, which is never the answer. So there are problems for the workplace and modern society. So let's just flick through a few of those just to get you thinking. I think this is a big one. I remember walking into one organisation that I started to work for, and I got an email from someone who sat 2 doors away from me, and I literally opened my door, walked into the office and said, could you just come in and ask me that, or can we have a conversation about that? And I think that's part of the problem. Certainly children and kids that are growing up now who are going through university and becoming the future employees. If my kids are anything to go by, they spend more times on the phone communicating through the phone than communicating face to face, so to speak. Finding the time. I think life is so busy nowadays. There's so many other things going on. It's difficult at home, but equally it's difficult at work as well. And I think we've mentioned in the last module about making sure you put that 15 minutes aside to spend with people on a daily basis. Creating a meaningful work. So what is the reason why? What is the reason why we're all going to work hard for this organisation? And often I think we mentioned right in the first module, we can brush over that because we want to get through the daily, the weekly, the monthly agenda. And a lot of people are not necessarily team players. Not a lot, but there are some. And what often happens in teams with leadership that's not effective is we don't deal with those people. We don't try and change their behaviour or get their understanding that some of their behaviours are disruptive and consequently affecting the rest of the group. And often people ask me the question is, well, what do you do about those types of people? Well, you've obviously got to try and help them improve and learn. to become better, and whether it's one-to-one feedback or 360-degree feedback is often the best way, because then if it's told from more than one angle, then it leaves them with the decision to make as to change the behaviour or move on. I think assuming that people at the top all have leadership qualities. This is a great quote here. Most companies pay lip service to the team at the top. Labeling the leadership group as a team does not make it so, and depends on crisis type event to trigger team behaviour. So because it's called the leadership team, we assume that that's the way it is behaving, and often, like I say, it depends on the personnel there, but also the behaviours that they're exhibiting, and we need to make sure that they are a proper functioning team, and as it says here, not just in times of crisis. I think often nowadays, again, going back to the busy stuff and too many things going on, we neglect the shop floor, and getting views from the shop floor is absolutely critical to understanding the pulse of the team and health check the sense of the team. And it's competitive. So the current climate, there aren't huge numbers of great leaders around, and if you've got some young talent coming through, one of the big challenges is retaining it, and certainly you've got to make sure you give them responsibilities and keep growing and developing them, because ultimately what you don't want to keep doing is having to start at square one again, having worked hard to develop your own talent. So what does it look like when you've connected well enough, when you've dealt with the problems of the modern workforce, the modern society? What does it look and feel like? So you want to be intimate yet be detached. You want to be part of the team so you can join in to tackle the shared problem. Don't be afraid to say you've got it wrong. Don't be afraid to admit vulnerability or that you don't know the answer to everything. People will respect you more for it. And keep control while letting go. So you walk that tightrope of control but equally empowering people. And not everyone's going to agree. And rather than see them as a threat or as a challenge, take it as an opportunity to learn from them and see it from a different person's point of view. So I hope you got something out of that. There's plenty in it. Again, it's only a 10-minute shot, but there's more than 10 minutes thinking time in there, and hopefully it gives you plenty to think about to apply to your own leadership challenges that you face.